Everybody, today we're going to talk about what is fluffy clutter. Have you ever heard the term fluffy clutter? This is something, as far as I know, I made this up. I'm not quite sure, but this is how I think about a certain type of clutter that so many of you have. And this is super fun because this is, maybe it's not the easiest, absolute easiest type of clutter to deal with, but it is so simple. And not only is it so easy to deal with, but it's something that a lot of people really dread. So it's like a double whammy, right? It's like such a wonderful win because on the one hand, it's something that a lot of people really stress out about. And on the other hand, it's so easy to deal with. Not all of our clutter is easy to deal with, right? If you want to deal with your, I don't know, your grandmother's china, or the cards you got for your wedding, or or whatever, or that special t-shirt that is full of holes. Those kinds of things could be so emotional. But this kind of clutter is not, usually. And so it's such a wonderful win. So I want to share with you this whole idea today, and I want you to look out and see if you have any of this in your house. All right. So again, today we're talking about fluffy clutter. All right. So have you ever seen a cat, right? A cat that's like really mad, right? Like I don't have a cat. Some of y'all know that. That's a little bit on my wish list, but don't tell the kids. But if you've ever seen a cat that's really freaked out, right? Maybe there's a dog on the other side of the window and there's a cat. The cat will get all pumped up, right? All puffed up. And like the cat's fur will expand to like 3 times its size, right? It gets really fluffy when a cat is mad, right? It's trying to look big. The cat's trying to look scary, right? And so it fluffs itself up, right? Same thing like with a bird, right? If there's a bird, if you're looking at a bird outside and it's really cold out, the bird will fluff itself up. It's trying to get bigger because it's trying to insulate, right? And that's a different reason, but same kind of thing is happening, right? So this cat's super mad. Now, if you know anything about cats, you know, oh, that cat is just looking bigger than it really is. There's not really a whole lot going on there. Underneath all of that fur, it's just a little cat, and it might scratch you, but it's not really that big a deal. Well, this is the way I think about this particular kind of clutter. Okay, and what do I mean when I say fluffy clutter? I mean things like empty boxes, right? Do you ever have, like, if you have a catch-all room or like a basement where things just kind of get thrown, right? You just throw stuff in there, or maybe you didn't start out that way. Maybe it started out kind of nice and neat, but over time people just let stuff go, and so they throw this stuff in there. Empty boxes, right? Or mostly empty boxes. Another thing is hangers, right? I mean, if you could have like 5 hangers, but if they're all in this box, they're all jumbled around. They're taking up all of this space, right? You've got a box and it's this big and it's got 4 hangers in it, but it looks like a mess because it's just all messy. Other things that would fall into this category, things like maybe some clothes, right? You might have a pile of clothes, right? And it's not folded and it's like all over the place, haphazard, or towels, or sheets. Right? It's all kind of messed up. It's all in a wrapped up in a ball, right? The thing about these things is that this stuff is mostly air, just like the cat, right? It's mostly air. It is puffed way up beyond the actual mass of the item. Think empty boxes again. Again, they could take up a whole room, but they're mostly air, probably 90–95% air, right? So what that means is this is not nearly as bad as we think, right? It's not that bad. It's just mostly hot air. And but again, we tend to freak out over these things because they look super messy, right? And the volume is big, right? You have you have all these boxes that are taking up all this space. And not only are they taking up all this space, but fluffy clutter does not tend to be neatly stacked, right? So they're taking up space and they're messy, right? They're kind of like, they're jumbled and, they're not stacked, and maybe like one is inside the other, and there's there's paper sticking out. It's just messy. But again, it's mostly air, right? So this is such good news, right? We see this and we look at it, and especially if we look at the whole, we look at the whole space, and our brain goes, oh my God, this is a nightmare, and we freak out. We literally, like, this is literally a thing. We freak out. Oh my goodness, this is just awful, right? It feels awful because you look at it and you're just taking in, there's a lot going on here. There's not a lot of order, right? Our brains are craving order and certainty. And when things are messy, and even if they're not stacked neatly, it contributes to a sense of unease, right? So that's why we freak out. Oh my gosh, there's this pile of clothes, like, oh, it's awful, right? But again, it's just hot air for the most part. Now, yes, there's some work to do and all that, but if you can remember, hey, this is mostly air, right? And when I actually spend a little bit of time, maybe you're gonna flatten those boxes. Maybe they're gonna be recycled. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Now, maybe you have to spend a little time flattening them, taking them out of the house, getting them to be recycled. But oh my goodness, you have just freed up all of that space, right? And not only have you freed it up, but you didn't have to agonize over, what should I do with this? It's just boxes, or it's just hangers. Yeah, I could deal with hangers. I know a lot of people keep boxes. That's that whole joke that goes around Facebook from time to time, right? Like, I'm keeping this box because, it's a really good box and I might need a box. And that's lovely and wonderful, but having one box or having two boxes or however many is not the same as having 100 boxes. And so what starts out as a good idea with 1, 2, 10, right? It just can get out of control, and then you have 100 or you have more. So you just want to notice that, right? And then be like, oh yeah, I don't need all of these boxes. I'm going to pick the best ones and we're going to save those. And maybe we will flatten those as well. And then if we want to ship something, then we have them, they're ready to go, but they're not taking up nearly as much space, right? Now we can compress them down to just an absolute fraction of what they were before, right? You can just get rid of so much volume, right? When you eliminate the fluff, you get rid of the hot air, right? And so it's so easy. So that's what I want to invite you to do today, is look around, especially in a place that feels incredibly, especially messy. Look and see, do you see any fluffy clutter that you could deal with? Again, it is usually the easiest stuff to deal with. Another thing that could qualify as fluffy clutter is actually trash, right? Like maybe there's some wrappers, maybe there's some junk mail that didn't make it to the recycle bin. Or, maybe it was, maybe it was some empty grocery bags, right? Lots of air in there, lots of clutter, they can get recycled or thrown out. So quick and simple. You don't have to agonize, you don't have to, sort through. It's not like it's family photos that's gonna, take a lot of emotional energy to do. You can just be like, oh, fluffy, right? All right, let's get this out of the house. And you can free up so much space. And then the nice thing about this is when you are tackling this fluffy clutter, your brain is saying things like, oh, we're putting things in order. How about that? And it's noticing, oh, I can do this. How about that? That's kind of cool. Oh, maybe this isn't so bad, right? Especially if you know the idea of fluffy clutter. If you don't, you might be like, oh my God, this is just evidence that I can never clean anything up, right? But if you know, oh yeah, it's just fluffy, now your brain is like, oh wow, how about that? We are actually doing this. And that is going to make you feel good. And when you feel good and when you're feeling organized inside your head, now you will be willing to take the next step. And maybe you tackle something a little harder. Or maybe you just make a little bit more order. Maybe you're not even decluttering, you're just tidying and straightening, right? You're straightening up those piles of the things that are not going out the door. Maybe you're stacking some boxes. Maybe they have things in them and they're all haphazard. Maybe you stack them. Just the act of stacking, straightening, making order will calm your brain down, and you will feel so much better. And then you get to decide, do I want to keep going? Or am I done here and I want to finish up and then come back later, right? But just putting things in order is so calming to your brain. So you want to be looking out for chances to do this, especially if you're feeling agitated, right? So very powerful. So that's the idea there. look out for some fluffy clutter. Can you get those boxes at the door? The hangers. The hangers are a pet peeve of mine. You know, we keep hangers because we might need them, right? But how many do you need? Do you need 500? Are they the kinds that you don't even like using, right? Maybe they need to go to the dry cleaner. If the dry cleaner doesn't want them and they're like the wire ones, then maybe they just need to go in the trash. Thrift stores, they love to have hangers in good condition, right? So maybe that's an option if you do want to spend the time to recycle them, but get those hangers out of the door. Do not, you know, because the other thing about hangers, I'm just going off on a little side note here, but hangers, when we have a lot of hangers, that means we're preparing to keep a lot of clothes, right? And if you are decluttering your wardrobe, then you probably don't want to prepare for, you know, for having lots and lots and lots of clothes, right? Maybe you don't have room in your closet for those hangers, so why are you keeping them, right? Those are a perfect opportunity to let things go and free up space, right? And when we free up space, we have room to move, we have room to breathe, we have room to live, and our blood pressure can just go down, and then we can enjoy again. All right, so look out for that fluffy clutter. Let me know. Love to hear if you all have ideas and examples and opportunities to do this. Leave me a comment. Let me know how that goes. All right, that's what I have for you today, my friends. This was a quick one. Hope you all are having a great day. Talk to you soon.